Pattee Olsen. For over 10 years, up until last December, a mountain lion roamed free just 20 miles north of this campus. If you've ever been to the LA Zoo, the Griffith Observatory, saw a concert at the Greek, or even hiked in the Hollywood Hills, you may have been in the direct vicinity of an apex predator, the mountain lion known as P-22. As an avid hiker, I have been following P-22's story since he was first discovered. In last February, I attended his memorial service. By living in Griffith Park, P-22 unwittingly brought attention to the mountain lions that are at risk for extinction up in the Santa Monica Mountains. Today, I'm going to talk about P-22. I'm going to talk about how he got to Griffith Park, some of his adventures and misadventures, and then I'll talk about his death and his legacy. First, I'll talk about how P-22 got to Griffith Park. He was first discovered by a biologist studying pictures taken by a trap camera. This was the first image they had of him, this little puma butt, much to their surprise. So after that, biologists from the National Park Service captured him. They took DNA samples. They collared him as part of their mountain lion study. He was the 22nd puma in their mountain lion study, hence the name P-22. They discovered that he was born in the western part of the Santa Monica Mountains. He traveled about 40 miles and crossed two of our busiest freeways to get to the park. After they captured him, they re-released him back in the park, which may seem a curious thing to do, to release a mountain lion back in one of the busiest urban parks amongst many residents that live in the Hollywood Hills. But they had their reasons. For one, mountain lions naturally avoid human contact. According to Jeff Skichik, a National Parks biologist who studied P-22, in an August 2012 LA Times article, he asserted that there is a greater risk hopping in your car and driving on the 101 freeway than being attacked by a mountain lion. Another reason that they didn't relocate him somewhere else is that male mountain lions are very territorial. So relocating him somewhere else may have meant him fighting to the death with another male mountain lion. They also thought that P-22 was going to leave the park on his own. They thought that he would look for a mate, and the park is 25 times too small for your average mountain lion. However, P-22 stayed. It may have been because there was plenty of food for him there. They had deer and coyotes. There were no other male mountain lions to fight with him over his territory. And also he may have been deterred by the freeways and the traffic around the park. According to the National Park Service website, vehicle strikes are one of the leading causes in death of mountain lions. Well, he didn't leave and he stayed, which certainly a 120-pound, 6-foot-long apex predator living in an urban park is going to have some newsworthy adventures. I'll share some of those with you now. His first brush with fame was an iconic picture that, there we go. Okay, his first brush with international fame was this picture taken by Stephen Winters for National Geographic magazine. In contrast to that, just 6 months later, the National Park Service released this photograph of P-22 suffering from mange as a result of second-generation rat poisoning. In a June 2014 NPR article written by Gloria Hillard, P-22 was declared the poster cat for California's rat poisoning problem. The biologists were able to help him recover from that. And he went on to have other adventures. He was often seen on people's security cameras that live up in the Hollywood Hills. And one time, he was found in the crawl space of a house. News cameras were there. They tried to get him to go. He finally just snuck off in the middle of the night when everybody went home. In 2016, he was the prime suspect in the death of a koala at the LA Zoo. Yeah, it's an awkward time for him. There was some debate then about removing him from the park. However, there was an outpouring of support for him to stay, including from the zoo. April Sperlich, the zoo spokesperson, was quoted in the March 2016 LA Times article as saying, "It's the zoo's hope that P-22 will remain in Griffith Park. We will continue to adapt to P-22 as he has adapted to us." P-22 became the face of the Save LA Cougars. With his image and his story, he helped raise funds for a proposed $90 million wildlife crossing over the 101 freeway in the Agora Hills. Now I'm going to talk about P-22's death and his legacy. In 2022, P-22 accomplished something that very few male mountain lions in the wild do. He reached old age. In November of that year, his behavior changed. There were 3 incidences of him attacking small dogs on leashes. Photographs of him showed him thinner, and it looked like he was suffering from mange again. The biologists decided it was a good time to capture him and do a health evaluation. They captured him in December of last year, and that was when they found that he was suffering from being struck by a car the night before his capture. He had severe head injuries, internal injuries, and he was also suffering from advanced organ failure and infection due to rat poisoning. After a week of care, they made the decision to compassionately ease into his suffering. On December 17, 2022, they put P-22 to sleep. His legacy, however, lives on. The rat poisoning, his pictures that you saw where he had mange, played a big part in influencing a 2020 law to ban some of the rat poisons in California. Additionally, Beth Pratt, the California director of the National Wildlife Federation, in her eulogy for P-22, tearfully observed, "He ensured a future for an entire population of mountain lions in the Santa Monica Mountains by inspiring us to build the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing, which broke ground this spring." In conclusion, while P-22 is no longer with us, his legacy lives on. By living in Griffith Park, P-22 brought awareness to the plight of the mountain lions in the Santa Monica Mountains. He was a celebrity, often making headlines and influencing projects to benefit wildlife. His spirit lives on through his legacy. To our knowledge, P-22 was never able to find a mate to have offspring of his own. However, his trek to Griffith Park may prove to be a key factor in saving future generations of Los Angeles County's wildlife mountain lions.